Hello again, Struck Club. Today I'm bringing you another one of my Magic Legends class showcases, and this one is for the Mind Mage. The Mind Mage personifies cool intellect utilizing psychic powers. Battle enemies from a safe distance, controlling projectiles with telekinesis, and walking down dangerous foes with spells that put them to sleep or turn them against their allies. This class has synergies with the blue mana type, but just like any other class can use decks with spells of all mana types. So you can make decks with blue, you can make decks with red, green, white, black, or you can mix and match two of those, up to two. So you can go blue and red, blue and white, red and green, red and black, and so on. There's a lot of combinations out there. The class has two permanent passive bonuses, and they are as follows: plus 500 control duration potency and plus 250 sorcery damage potency. Each class has 3+1 active abilities and mana search on top of that, so maybe you can say there's 3+1+1 active abilities. Those help define that character alongside a set of passive abilities and a passive trait. The active abilities for every class are a spammable primary attack combo, a secondary attack that has normally a cooldown, and a utility which sometimes is escape, sometimes is more of a survivability skill, alongside a final ultimate, spark power. I like to call it ultimate, the game calls it a spark power. Out of those four, the ultimate, the spark power, is unlocked at level 6, while the other three can be used as soon as you start the game, and mana search is unlocked at level 3, but more about mana search after we go through the abilities. So the primary is called Lash. Blast enemies in front of you with a barrage of energy orbs, which is pretty decent. I love this one. Then the secondary is called Confound. Deal damage to foes in a cone in front of you. Confuse a random foe that was not killed in this way for 6 seconds. Then stun the rest for 3 seconds. The utility skill of the Mind Mage is called Illusory Escape. Taunt foes with an illusion of yourself and gain increased movement speed. So you can either use it for taunt to distract enemies with that illusion, or you can just use it as a movement speed skill as you're moving through the map to close in on the distance if you're going from one end of the overworld to the other, or if you're just speedrunning a map. It's very good. I love that utility skill. It's amazing. Next is the spark power, Hallucination, which unlocks at level 6. It consumes 60 spark meter per second when you activate it, and it does the following: confuse foes around you as long as this power is active. You may not cast spells or use class abilities while this power is active, but you do gain access to a new power during this effect, and that's a new primary power called Psy Orb. Psy Orb does the following: deal damage to foes in a line in front of you, additional damage to foes at the end of the line. You won't be able to clearly see the line, but you're gonna kind of get used to knowing where Psy Orb ends, so you can kind of aim it properly, so you can do a lot of damage. This is an amazing ultimate. It's one of my favorite ultimates, one of my favorite spark powers. And I love it. It's great. So there's some serious DPS you can do with this if you use it well on bosses and champions. Now let's move on to mana search. Every class gets a mana search active ability at level 3 that uses the spark power charge before the ultimate spark power gets unlocked at level 6. After the spark power unlock at level 6, players can still use mana search when the spark power is not fully charged, or when it's fully charged. Mana Surge gives the following buff: gain 3 mana over 6 seconds. Then draw a spell card. As I say in all those class skill showcases, there are ways to build around Mana Search and ways to build around Spark Power, but in either of those cases, if you're building for either of those two things, you can stack Spark Power recharge potency, Spark Power generation potency, so you can get that Spark meter filled up quickly. Whether you use it for Mana Search, whether you use it for your Spark Power, it's up to you. This class definitely has an amazing Spark Power, so Spark Power builds might be interesting, stacking those and using those as much as possible. Let's move on to the level up and passives. Each hero gets various passive upgrades to their active abilities, as well as general passives that are not linked to a specific ability as they level up. Those passives get unlocked at the following levels: 4, 7, 10, 15 and 22. Now let's look at those. At level 3, as we mentioned, you get Mana Surge, so we're gonna ignore this one. At level 4 you get Rend Mind, which is an upgrade to your primary attack. Mind Lash. Mind Lash's final strike deals 150% additional damage to enemies hit in the vast half of the attack area. Level 6, as we mentioned, is Hallucination, so we're not gonna talk about the spark power, we already covered this. At level 7 you get Maddening Thoughts, which is an upgrade for Confound, our secondary power. Confound can confuse an additional target, and the duration of the effect is increased by 2 seconds. Then comes at level 10 Living Illusion. Illusory Escape's illusion explodes on termination, inflicting damage and greater slow to enemies nearby. Crush Mind is at level 15, a more general passive that's not related to an ability. When a creature you control with 3 or greater toughness dies, disorient foes near that creature for X seconds, where X is equal to the toughness of that creature, so it's gonna be minimum of 3 seconds with that one. At level 22 you unlock Emergency Illusion. Falling below 25% health will cause you to summon a 0/6 illusion that taunts when it enters the battlefield. See, and this synergizes very nice with Crush Mind, because you summon a 0/6 illusion when you go under 25% health. And then Crush Mind kind of makes it so that when this illusion dies, it would disorient foes near that creature for 6 seconds, because it has 6 toughness. So very nice synergy between those two there. At level 30 every class unlocks a trait. This one's no exception, so let's talk about the trait. Reaching level 30 on each class unlocks a passive trait specific to that class, which can be slotted into one of the 3 trait slots alongside 2 more traits from other classes. The Mind Mage's trait is called Psychic Prowess. I hope I'm not mispronouncing this, but yeah, Psychic Prowess. While this trait is slotted, casting non-creature spells grants +1/+1 to a random creature you control for 10 seconds. It's a little bit underwhelming for this class. I was very disappointed when I saw this, because it's more of a creature related stuff, and I was expecting something more sorcery related or crowd control related rather than a creature related trait. Kind of a disappointing one. I was expecting this one to be the mage, more centric around sorceries, and yes, it's making you use sorceries or enchantments, non-creature spells, but it's also buffing your creatures, so it's still tilting you towards playing creatures, and it would have been pretty nice if you got some synergies for sorceries getting stronger or getting extra mana and things like that, but no, that's not how it is. Kind of disappointing, but not bad. Many builds would love to do that. Many builds would benefit from that Psychic Prowess. That's the Mind Mage. Pretty interesting, pretty solid class, very good synergies with crowd control, also a decent sorcery damage potency, not as much as the Necromancer, which gets 500, but still 250 sorcery potency damage is not bad. I love the Mind Mage and I love his mobility, I love his ultimate, even the primary is pretty nice. So I hope you love it and you come up with some great builds with it. I can't wait to start making builds for it myself. To get notified when I upload more content for this game or other games like this one, which would be wooters of all varieties, isometric, third-person ARPGs, wooter shooters and all sorts of wooters like that, you could subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on my content updates. And optionally, you can even join as a member of the Struck Club on YouTube as a channel member to get access to exclusive perks such as special emotes custom made by me, special badges custom made by me that represents how many months you have been a member for, as well as opt-in of editing tutorials that I can give for Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, as well as shoutouts and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Thank you for supporting the channel and keeping me going. Thank you also for watching this video, everyone. Keep it cool, Struck Club. Until next time, and goodbye.